Blog Talk Radio.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's the new experience. Spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one, man. Spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Spirituality. Oh, now we getting real. Getting real. Spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get down. Yeah, you gonna feel good now. Real good. That's what I'm talking about. Time to get real.
Ooh-wee. Welcome to Reality Spirituality, everyone. I'm your global happiness specialist, Rebecca L. Norrington. Welcome to Reality Spirituality. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. Welcome, all you new listeners. Woo-wee. Let's get into this. Let's get into this right now. I think happiness special, global happiness specialist. The nerve. Who does she think she is? Who is she? Listen, when I was younger, I made a comment during the week, and I said I sure do say listen a lot. I'm gonna be more mindful of this listening comment. Anyway, when I was younger, I wanted the same things. I wanted to live to my potential, and I wanted to be happy. I've traveled. I've had a conversation with a lot of different people, hundreds of people, and guess what? I'm not alone. People want to be happy. And it's so interesting how when I say want to be happy, it's our nature. It's our nature to be happy. And when I say happy, I'm talking about a vibrational energy, an energy of peace, of calm, of contentment, of balance, of just journeying on this planet with your shoulders down, relaxed. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about there, feeling happy about self and about life. And the interesting thing about this happiness, wanting to be happier, it is achievable. It is achievable in the smallest. In other words, I was not taught how to be happy when the life storms of life hit. And so when I say happiness is a practice skill, which is the title for today's show, happiness is a practice skill, I'm dead serious. It is a practice skill, and it is a daily practice, moment by moment practice. And what this show, Reality Spirituality, just does, and what I do is just share with you what to practice. It's really a simple concept. When I say happiness is a practice skill, it's just like any other skill. The more you commit to the practice, the more you practice, and it is a daily practice, the better the results. The question that you ask yourself is, are you ready to commit? Are you ready to feel? Are you ready to experience more happiness? And when I say happiness, it is a synonym of peace, contentment, balance. You know what I'm talking about, that vibrational, that really chill vibration. And when I say it's a practice, there's two parts. The first part of the practice starts with gradually eliminating all of the behaviors that have been proven that subtract from your happiness. They're proven behaviors that subtract. And listed, when I say listing, I have I should count these one of these days, probably 35 to 40 behaviors that subtract from happiness. And then there are at least 20, 25 behaviors that you practice that will add to your happiness. When I say it's simple, it is simple. The concepts are simple, but the practice is the challenge. It's always the practice. And now that we're into the playoffs, if you listen to the show, you know I'm a sports fan. Well, not so much anymore, but more of a football, and I really do follow the football teams and the Super Bowl and all that. I do enjoy watching football. I've given up basketball, and I'm really not a baseball fan. Well, World Series, but definitely basketball is out. I'm giving up the NBA from now until I don't give it up. When I say giving things up, one of the things that subtracts from happiness is having attachments, having preferences, and also making judgments. And I have had preferences, and I make judgments. And when I find myself doing that, one of the things that I like to do is just eliminate whatever I am attached to. It's like anything else. It's like eliminating sugar or eliminating smoking cigarettes. It doesn't matter what I've been doing, but when I say it doesn't matter what I've been doing, what I'm saying is eliminating those things that are not serving me, eliminating my behavior that is not adding to my happiness and, in fact, is subtracting from it. Because when I make a judgment about a person, about a community, about a global issue, and the judgment is always, oh, something's wrong, you know, that judgment, the judgment that's the most common, there's something wrong out there, it subtracts. You can feel it. You can feel it when you look out and you find fault with anything that's going on. And listen, there I go again with the listen, we have had hundreds and hundreds of examples looking out and finding fault or finding something wrong with any situations from, when I say any situation, from this pandemic. The pandemic has brought, so many things to find fault with, not to mention the state of the country, the political state of the country, not to mention people in general. When I say that, I'm talking about going out into the world, and there just seems to be there's a feeling of anger and angst and impatience and zero tolerance, non-tolerance. And you know, one of the things that I've noticed with all of this pandemic is that people want to control other people. That's right. I'm going to raise my hand. I used to do the same thing. I used to think that I could control someone else, or I could control the situation. But the practice, when I say happiness is a practice skill, letting go of wanting to control anything or anyone outside of myself will add to your happiness. And I don't care who it is or what you're seeing or what you're noticing about anyone else, but we are all as different as our fingerprints. And because I have a specific, okay, let me back up a little bit. Because I look at a single issue and only find one perspective, I only have one way to look at an issue. Say, let's just a common one. Let's just go back to the mask. I only have one way of looking at wearing a mask, not wearing a mask. I mean, it's not even about the wearing or not wearing. It's about the lessons that we're getting from the wearing and the not wearing, and how is that making you feel because of what someone else is doing? How is that making, and it came to me quick. It came to me quick because I have a side, mask versus no mask, and so does everyone else. But the problem becomes, when I subtract from my own happiness, the problem is coming from me thinking that my perspective is the right perspective. When I say happiness is a practice skill, you got to let go of thinking that you're right. Oh, it pains me so much to say that. You just don't know, because I was right about everything. Now, some of you, and I've gotten some emails, well, Rebecca, are you saying now that you're not right about this happiness? listen. One of the things that I am sure of is I definitely know what subtracts from your peace and what subtracts from happiness. And having judgment and not tolerating or lack of acceptance and subtracts from your happiness. When I say the road to peace, what is the road to peace? The road to peace is acceptance with self and acceptance with others. The road to peace, when I say happiness is a practice skill, acceptance is a practice. If you are experiencing anything in the moment, one of the instant reliefs or one of the instant energy shifts is when you shift to accepting what is going on, accepting the circumstance, accepting self, accepting others. When I say acceptance, that's step number one, because once you accept, see, you're either resisting or you're accepting. And the resisting always subtracts from your peace and your happiness. And when I say peace and happiness, I'm talking about a vibration in energy. You know the difference. You can feel the difference. So if there's something that is when I say a story, okay, let me back up just a little bit. When there's something that is bothering you, I don't care what it is, make a list. Make a list or even just focus on one thing that is bothering you. All that needs to happen is a shift in perspective. When I say happiness is a practice skill, practice shifting, practice changing, practice having another perspective. Nothing has to change in your life but the perspective. When you change your perspective, it doesn't matter what it is. You're opening yourself up to more possibilities of awareness, more possibilities of looking at the same topic with different eyes. When you only have one way, when you can only think of, come up with, have a story one way, then guess what? You're going to be stuck in that one way. When I say happiness is a practice skill, the skill is practicing multiple perspectives. The more you practice having more than one perspective, the easier, the softer, the resistance seems to lessen. And it happens over time. That's the other thing. The practice is also to be patient with yourself and to be patient with your growth and to be patient with the unfolding. The unfolding of the divine, the unfolding of the circumstances that are going to be happening. When I say going to be happening, I'm talking about the future. The future. Allow the future to unfold the way that it is going to unfold, because it's not going to unfold the way that you are thinking or imagining. Well, let me scratch that, because sometimes it does unfold the way that we think about or we imagine. But usually, I don't know about you, but I'm always surprised. I'm surprised at what comes from around the corner. When you are in the present moment without bringing with you the suitcases, the baggage, I say the suitcases. I like to say suitcases over baggage. The suitcases of the past, and packing very light for the future, which means I don't need to pack for the future. You know how I pack for the future? In this moment right now. There's nothing to pack for the future because the future hasn't shown itself yet. One of the things that you practice is letting go of of not even being concerned, not being in the business of the future. The future, when you're in the future, then you're robbing yourself of the present moment. How can you enjoy the present moment if you're in the future? Unless there is a way, unless you are having a wonderful daydream, you're thinking about something, wow, a pleasant place, not this, well, I've got to achieve, well, I've got to attain, well, I have to achieve this goal. When I say being in the future, the daydream of it's like daydreaming about a vacation. That's the best way I can come up with for an analogy. The daydreaming about a vacation. But let me get back to the topic. I can't even believe I didn't give my definition. My definition of happiness is the ability to be at peace regardless of what happens and regardless of what doesn't happen. The definition of happiness is the ability to be at peace regardless of what happens and regardless of what doesn't happen. And when I say practice, happiness is a practice skill, that is exactly what I mean when I say practice. What are you practicing? Because you can't wiggle out of this one. You can't worm out of this one. You can't wiggle out of this one. When I say practice, it is a direct, what are you doing? What is your action? Because it's very, very easy to find fault, to complain, to look at and tell your story, and tell a story that, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I'm not satisfied. And to complain about it. But it's very different. And listen, I'm accepting the complainers too. But it's very different when you say, what can I do? How do I take responsibility for how I'm feeling? How do I take responsibility for wanting to be happier? What do I do? And so on this show, I share with you what to do, what to practice, and it's really up to you. There was a time where I was really invested. I was invested in the listeners. I was invested in the people that I talk to one-on-one, that you say you want to be happier, where's the practice? And what I found is, everybody's waving their hands, I want to be happier, I want to be happier, but are you wanting to practice? And what are you practicing? The change is a very subtle change. The practice is a very subtle practice. But the results, my dear audience, I'm letting you know, are indescribable. When you are able to look back and say to yourself, wow, 6 months ago, that really bothered me. 3 months ago, I couldn't stand. 4 months ago, a year ago. In other words, your growth is constant. Growth is constant when you commit to the practice. Happiness is a practice skill. The definition of happiness is the ability to be at peace regardless of what happens and regardless of what doesn't happen. Watch and trust and believe that the universe is here to serve you. The universe is serving you in all moments. Now, sometimes it doesn't feel like it. Sometimes it feels like it's a big burden, or I don't feel any different, or I'm not very happy, and I'm not, all of those things that we are programmed, where the ego is programmed to find fault with. I'm here to share with you that even when you make the smallest changes, the smallest practices bring big results. Small practice brings big results. Let me share with you what to practice. What behaviors subtract from happiness? These are some of the behaviors that when you practice eliminating them, and it is a practice, it doesn't happen overnight, and you're patient with yourself and you're patient with the when you're patient with self and when you're patient with the process of growth doesn't, well, sometimes growth, you get an aha moment and you wake up and, whoa, yes, everything's different. But usually growth takes time. And for me, the impatience of, when is this going to happen, universe? When, and wanting and having that when question and wanting more than what this present moment is. I mean, when I talk about having a vibration of satisfaction, you're either vibrating, you're satisfied in the moment, or you're vibrating dissatisfaction in the moment. So that's a question that only you can answer yourself. Are you vibrating satisfaction, or are you vibrating dissatisfaction? Because the road to peace is vibrating satisfaction in every moment. But how do you get there? How do you get there when things are not going, quote, unquote, your way? Well, let me share this. It's never, the things aren't going your way, or that whole story is authored by the ego. And knowing the characteristics of the ego are, and I know this may sound redundant. I've talked about this a lot, but it bears repeating, because the story that the ego tells you will always will make you feel like something's wrong. I'm not doing enough. I'm not getting what I wanted. The ego, see, when I ask the universe for what I ask the universe for, one of the things I always ask for is more consciousness, more awareness, more balance, more vibration of trust, more surrendering. See, that's what I can do. I'm not asking the universe for more money, a better health. Listen, I'm walking around here. I'm limping right now because I pulled a muscle, and I mean, I can't even lift my left leg. It's just, you know, when you pull a muscle and it's right there on that, it's in the inner thigh, and you know how tender that is, and you know how long it takes for that to heal. So there's always something going on. Life is a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster for me. It's a roller coaster for everybody that I know. But the question becomes is, how are you riding this roller coaster? How are you riding the ride of life? When I say life is a roller coaster, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what happens. The good news is when you practice, when I say practice, and you commit to the practice of wanting to feel happier or wanting to be happier, there are certain things that you just automatically start doing. Trusting more, shoulders down, believing, surrendering. You know, one of my favorite stories, it is a story about a young gentleman. I believe he was 32 or 33 when they crucified him. And this is not a religious show, but the story of Jesus is very, very, very informative and very telling. You know that when he was arrested, and before he was arrested, when he went to the Garden of Gethsemane, what did Jesus say? He says, you know what? He said, you know what, God? You know what, Father? I'm sorry, but I don't want to die. I'm sorry, but I'm struggling. I got these disciples that have left me, that have abandoned me, and I'm struggling here. I don't want to be tortured. I don't want to be crucified. You know, I don't want to submit to this what's coming up. No, thank you. And finally, it's the same with you. It's the same with me. This is a universal divine plan. And Jesus, I mean, listen, I'm glad it wasn't me. But at the end, what happened and what did he say? He says, okay, forget about what I want. I'm good. You broke me. Forget about what I want. I trust. I believe. It's your will. It's your will. What you got? All right. And that's the practice. Be very mindful. You can witness what the stories that the ego will tell you. You can witness the stories, but the practice is saying to the practice. When I say prayer, practice is universe. Whatever I'm experiencing, I'm accepting. Universe, whatever is on my plate, I understand that it's there to serve me. It may not feel good. It may not look good. But you know what, universe? I am here, and I accept and I surrender to your plan. That's what I had to do, and it wasn't easy, and it's not easy. When I surrender to your plan, universe, I surrender to all of whatever, however it looks, and then I ask, because I'm not up here trying to think that I'm doing this by myself, then I ask, how can I feel at ease? How can I be at peace with the present moment? You want to know what to practice? How can I be? Always ask the universe how. How can I be at peace with the present moment? And then just wait for the magic to happen. And in the meantime, the practice is, I believe, I have a few people in the queue, and I believe, hey, Nathaniel, if that's you. And in the meantime, the practice is just what Nathaniel did the last 2 weeks, which I remember talking to him, and he said that he started his yoga practice, or he started in a little exercise program. And that's what I'm saying. It's the smallest of efforts. It's the smallest of changes. It's very, very small. And the ego will say that's not enough. The ego will say I still want more. But I'm here to tell you to let the ego know that I know the difference between you and I know the difference between the universe. I know the ego story, and I know the universe says that everything is in perfect order. And I am fine, and where I am is fine. And where I am is where I'm supposed to be. And what I'm doing is what I'm supposed to be doing. See, the biggest practice, you want to start feeling peaceful. Because, see, I don't care if you change your job, you win the lottery. It doesn't matter. If you are not at peace in this present moment, if you do not vibrate this peace in this present moment, or practice committing to the practice of experiencing more peace in the present moment, then guess what? There's not going to be any peace in the present moment. What you bring to your future moments is is your present moment right here. And if you are always wanting more, and I'm not satisfied, then I'm telling you it doesn't matter if you win the lottery. You're still not going to be satisfied in that moment either. You know all the stories. You've heard all the stories about the people that win the lottery and then their lives are just even more hell. And even the people that have quote-unquote money now, the people that have means now. Just because you have money, just because you have means, does not mean you are going to be at peace. And there's so much evidence out there to prove that point. It's not about when I get this or when I do that. It's not about this freedom. This peace is a state of mind. Peace and freedom is a state of mind. Nothing has to change in your life for you to feel and vibrate this peace. That's the empowering thing. Isn't that exciting? Isn't that exciting that nothing has to change other than your perspective? Nothing really has to be different. I know. I want to see things happen too. You know, they talk about manifesting. I want to see things happen too, but the problem becomes that even when I say, you know, when this happens, when I finish my first book, when I finish this book and all of that, then I'll feel a certain way. I'm here to tell you that's just not true. The feeling a certain way is this present moment right now. It's not about when this happens in the future, then you can feel a certain way. That feeling, that peaceful feeling is right here in the moment. It's not, you don't have to wait. In fact, you're waiting for what? Because the wait is always going to be in the future. When this happens, when that happens, when I achieve this, it's never going to be enough if it's never enough in this present moment. The stories are very tricky, but I will share with you this. I talked about this nurse who did a study. She was a hospice nurse, and she did a study years and years ago about her patients that were dying. Of course, hospice nurse, her patients are dying from anywhere from a week to 2 weeks, 3 months, 6 months to live. They're dying. They're on the list. They're on the list to die. And she asked them what were their 5 biggest regrets. The 5 biggest regrets, one of the 5 biggest regrets of her patients that were dying is that they wish they would have been happier. My favorite quote is, you can't be happy, you can't have a happy journey you can't have a happy ending without a happy journey. I love that quote. You can't have a happy ending, if I could remember it. You cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. I know the ego wants more. But I'm here to tell you that the more you recognize the difference between what the ego wants and the ego's voice, the more peace you're going to feel, and the more you witness, oh, I hear you, ego. There needs to be more. I'm unhappy. This is happening, and now I want more. I want something to be different. I know your voice, ego. It's always unsatisfied. There's always some unsatisfying vibe going through. I'm never happy with the present moment. I always want more. The practice, the road to peace, the road to an energetic peace and an energetic vibration is practicing trust. Practicing trust. And the question becomes, the universe, how do I trust more? See, it's the questions that you ask the universe. You ask for more peace. You ask for the vibration of satisfaction. You ask to feel. I mean, can you imagine? One of the things I used to ask the universe for was, how can I not feel that vibration of irritation? Universe, I don't want to be irritated anymore. What a peaceful way to live without irritation, right? I'm not going to get irritated. I'm not going to get pissed off. I'm not going to get angry. What a great question to ask the universe. Now, I'm not saying that I have it 100%. No, I'm not saying that. But I will tell you that over a period of years, and practicing and asking the universe, how can I experience less irritation? I experience less irritation. I mean, listen, I have my standards. I have my go-to irritation, the customer service, the slow person, the person, on hold, the questions, the one after you've been helped, and that program question is, can I help you with anything else? I mean, you're on the phone with them for already 45 minutes, and after everything gets resolved, or it doesn't get resolved, the program question is, can I help you with anything else? Oh, that just takes me to the moon. Well, all program questions and scripts. It just ooh wee. My ego just can't stand that. But see, this is the key. This is the key. When you know which voice it is, when you know which voice is expressing dissatisfaction, do you feed it or you don't feed it? The less you feed your ego, the weaker it gets. When you're feeling this isn't enough, when your ego is telling you this isn't enough, when your ego is telling you that you're dissatisfied, and you really feel that you're dissatisfied and there isn't enough, then you're feeding your ego. And the biggest thing for me is to starve the ego. Not today, ego. No satisfaction here. Look somewhere else. The behaviors that add to happiness, I'm going to ask you, which ones are you practicing? Are you practicing prioritizing your practice? Are you practicing committing to the practice? Committing to the search, committing to the practice? Are you surrendering to the moment? Are you starving? Are you humbling your ego? Are you learning? Are you discovering, researching yourself? In other words, do you really know who you are? Are you identifying with your ego? Do you think that you are your ego? Are you identifying with it? Because I'm here to tell you that you're not. You're not your ego. Are you in a loving relationship with yourself? That's either a yes or a no. Are you in a loving relationship with yourself? Are you accepting yourself? Are you accepting others? Are you accepting your current circumstances? Are you okay with uncertainty? So you either answer yes or no. Are you okay? Are you at peace with uncertainty? Which ties into how much do you trust? See, the more you trust, the more peace you are going to feel. Are you choosing your perspective? Are you able to choose your perspective? Can you look at the same situation in more ways than one? Are you aware? Are you patient? Here's a good one. Are you staying out of everybody else's business? Are you telling yourself the truth? Are you witnessing your moments as opposed to personalizing them? There's a big difference between witnessing what is happening and identifying. There's a big difference between witnessing and judging. This is either good or bad. Because usually what happens is the ego will tell you, oh, there's something wrong here. There's something wrong. Something needs to change. But this is your homework assignment to all the listeners. Your homework assignment this week is to practice. Let's have fun with it. Practice. Number one, you find something to laugh at every day. You find something to laugh at, whether it's YouTube. But laughter is very, 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 very nurturing for your soul. And the more you practice laughing every day, even if it's just for 2 or 3 minutes, the lighter you are going to feel. Because the goal here is what? The goal here is to be lighter, to feel lighter, to be at peace, to smile, to be happy, to feel a sense of satisfaction. The goal is to travel through this life with your shoulders down and in awe of the beauty of life, is to enjoy life. Enjoy it. So you are either enjoying your life or you're not. And don't tell me that you're going to enjoy your life if A, B, C, or D happens. and you can't enjoy your life because it looks like this right now. Because I'm here to tell you that that's just not true. You can enjoy anything you find yourself in. You can enjoy any circumstance. And if you don't believe me, then go on YouTube, and there's a couple of gentlemen, one man who teaches people how to cook, and he's blind. And then there's another man who is on YouTube and doesn't have any arms and no legs, and he makes inspirational videos. Can you imagine? So it's really a perspective, and it's really a commitment. Hold on a second. Let me see here. Welcome to Reality Spirituality. Is this Nathaniel?
Yes. Hi, Rebecca.
Hi, Nathaniel. Hi. What's going on? What did you practice last week?
Well, I did some more yoga and, trying to detach. My doctor, I think I had something put in my chest when I had chemotherapy. I had like this cord or something put in, and I was wondering, I had like a twitching in there, and I go, wow, why is my chest like twitching? And I just saw it this morning. I go, oh, that's where they put that port in for the chemotherapy in my chest, and it was kind of twitching, pain or something. I don't know. It may be kind of healing. And I just looked this morning. I go, oh, that's what that was. So I was just trying to detach and be happy and stuff. I didn't know if I was like something was wrong or something, and so.
You know what, Nathaniel? Let me make an observation because I talked to you last week and I believe the week before. But let me make an observation, and you let me know if I'm right on or not. And I'm getting chills. Okay. But you are a different person than 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
Your energy is different. I remember your energy when you first called in. And I remember, and even you telling me about the twitching and about where you got the chemotherapy, even that story, your energy in telling that story is different. Can you feel the difference? I mean, my whole body is chilling up. Can you feel just the slightest bit of energy shift there?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that a miracle? I mean, when I say miracle, isn't that magical? I mean, you're not the same person.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're all learning, day to day, even though 2020 seems to be such a struggle with everything. And
no, we're not talking about a struggle because nothing is a struggle. It's a judgment. Saying it's a struggle is a judgment, or saying it's an experience. See, life is an experience without a judgment. So one of the things I'm going to share with you is, and your assignment for this week is to be mindful of and to practice letting go. Not using any label, struggle, bad, good, all the labels. Just be aware of the labels that you're using, and then be aware if those labels are positive labels, uplifting labels, or do they tend to lead on the negative side. I really want to give you that assignment, Nathaniel, because you're such a good open person to try new things. I mean, in 2 weeks you're doing the yoga, and you're changing. You're adding to. It's called self-care, and you're adding to your self-care. And one of the things is just be mindful of the stories, and especially the labels, the struggle. Someone told me the other day that life is tragic, and I just didn't agree with that label in the first place. But I just want you to be mindful of the labels that you use and what types of labels that you use, and then just to add labels, not add labels, but to add to your practice of letting go of labels. Whew. And then to call in a little bit earlier next week, because I learned about the programming here, and the show is going to be 40. Well, the show's, I probably should put the show at an hour, but today for some reason I did it 45 minutes, so I'm really not able to take any more questions, and that's for everyone that's listening. What I want to share is reality, spirituality. No, scratch that. Before that, happiness is a practice skill, and it is up to the individual to make it a practice. I can't do it for you, and I can't, but I can share with you that it isn't easy. But as Nathaniel just said, and he's not in 2 weeks. Oh, by the way, Nathaniel, I want you to celebrate in some way. I don't know what you do that's good that you celebrate doing, but I want you to celebrate, because part of growth is celebrating the growth. And it can only be celebrated when you realize that, wow, I'm different. Wow, I added. See, it's a reprogramming of the ego's way of thinking that there's something wrong. I want more. It's just a very subtle way of letting the ego know that it's not in charge anymore, letting the ego know that you have a different perspective, letting the ego know that happiness is a practice skill and you're here to practice. Woo! Reality Spirituality is heard every Sunday. That's the end of today's show, every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. My website, you can go on my website. Yay! I still have a couple of tweaks to make to it, but you can still visit it at RebeccaNorrington.com. That's RebeccaNorrington.com. Follow me on Twitter at RLNorrington. LinkedIn, I have an Instagram handle, Reality Spirituality. I have a few videos on YouTube. The link is in the description on Blog Talk, but also you can just search Rebecca Norrington on YouTube. I have a few videos that are not on my channel right now. And my first book, Reality Spirituality, The Truth About Happiness, can be purchased on Amazon. And my second book, the one I'm writing now, Program for Unhappiness, is going to be out sometime this year. And until next week, my dear audience, I want you to remember who you are. You are a physical extension of the universe. You're always evolving. You're always changing. You're always going to be practicing, always growing. Love is patient and love is kind. Be patient to yourself and be kind to yourself. Be your own best friend. Remember, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. It is about the journey. It is about the journey. And Nathaniel reminded us again this week, his journey, doing differently, something different, self-care. The smallest change, the smallest additions, the smallest practices reap big results. Big results. His vibration is different. In 2 weeks, he's got a different vibration. Okay, you've been listening to Reality Spirituality with yours truly, global happiness specialist, Rebecca L. Norrington. Have a conscious week, and remember, happiness is a practice skill. Your experience in every moment reflects on what you practice. Thank you for listening. Have a conscious week.
Yeah, oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's the new experience. Reality Spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one now. Reality Spirituality. You got a question for